Let me tell you why Greg Rucka's Punisher is one of the best of all time. In 2011, the Punisher was in a very weird place. After years of Garth Ennis stories and people trying to emulate Garth Ennis' style, as well as a Max series that took him out of the main Marvel universe, it was time for a change. And change he did. Marvel got writers like Matt Fraction and Rick Remender to bring Frank Castle back into the main 616 Marvel universe and have him interact with heroes and villains that we already know. But I don't think these series went in the direction Marvel had actually hoped for. After years of more grim and gritty stories, they had him going up against the likes of Norman Osborn and turning into a Frankenstein's monster. And it just seemed out of place with what fans had been used to up until that point. Sorry, not Frankenstein, I meant Franken-Castle. There's a difference. Enter Greg Rucka. In 2011, with art primarily done by Marco Checchetto, which I know I'm pronouncing wrong, they both launched a brand new Punisher series simply called The Punisher. Now, this was the series I think both Marvel and fans were looking for. This was a Punisher who was firmly planted in the main Marvel U, interacting with heroes like Spider-Man and Daredevil. But it had a lot more in common with Garth Ennis' Punisher than I think a lot of people realized at the time. This was once again a street-level Punisher taking out mafiosos and gangsters and common criminals left and right. He doesn't really interact with a whole lot of people from the greater Marvel U. That's not to say there aren't fantastical elements to this series, and there is a 3-issue crossover with the aforementioned Daredevil and Spider-Man, but other than that, this is a Punisher book through and through. Or rather, he wasn't. See, Frank Castle in this series wasn't so much a character as much as he was just a force of nature, barely saying any words and just letting his actions and bullets do the talking. Instead, I'd argue that the main character of this series is actually Rachel Cole Alves, a retired Marine who saw her whole family murdered right in front of her on her wedding day. And with an origin very similar to Frank Castle, she's of course going to wind up going down a similar path. And it's here where things start to get interesting, because through Rachel we see a side of the Punisher that we've never really seen before. He's not this monster or some misunderstood hero. He's an aspirational figure, someone for Rachel to look up to and help her out on her quest to rid the world of the people who took her family from her. Someone to help her with her grieving process by hopefully taking up his crusade along with him. Despite the fact that everyone, including Frank Castle, knows this is a bad idea. How do you stop somebody from doing something they're so determined to do, even though it's the worst possible thing they could do? It's a shame this series only lasted 12 issues. I'm sure if they had more time, Rucka and Checchetto could have done some amazing things about two people who are so damaged and broken and how they can help each other get through some of the worst aspects of life. Now, there was a 5-issue follow-up series called Enter the War Zone by Rucka and a new artist, Carmine Di Giandomenico. He likes to work with Italians with hard-to-pronounce last names. That series saw the Punisher go up against the Avengers for all the crimes he had committed over the years. It was good, but it wasn't really the satisfying ending to the previous 12 issues. And I think the biggest shame is that Rachel Alves never really became the great addition to the Marvel U that she really should have been. She was really just confined to these 12 issues and Enter the War Zone. She had a brief return to Nathan Edmondson's run on the Punisher, but that was only like 2 issues. But regardless of these issues, this may just be not only the perfect Punisher run, but the perfect Punisher story. It's pretty short, only 12 issues plus the 5 Enter the Warzone issues. It's self-contained, there's not really a whole lot of crossover with the bigger Marvel Universe. And it's just great issue after issue, just page after page of great story and art. Again, it was only 12 issues that was collected and spread across 3 trades, and there's a 5-issue sequel series called Enter the Warzone. Some of the best Punisher stuff of the 21st century, and honestly, if you ask me, might even be better than Garth Ennis' stuff. And I know Garth Ennis wrote the best Punisher of all time, but trust me when I say, Greg Rucka gives it a run for its money. So if you ever wanted to read a Punisher comic, I highly recommend checking this series out. And once you do check it out, come back and talk to me down below or anywhere on the internet what you thought about it. Did you like it? Do you agree with me? Or do you think I'm talking out of my ass? And if so, recommend your own Punisher stories. I'd love to hear about them. Of course, new videos every Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday night, as always, Wulff Den Live, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. Of course, if you miss it, no problem. We put it up again on Thursday, right here on YouTube, and also in audio format on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Also, the new show, The Backlog. Every Saturday, Bob and I go through our video game collection and talk about a game from it, whether we've played it or not. We just did Cyborg Justice, and oh boy, that game. And of course, as always, like if you like, subscribe if you really like, share this video with a friend. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.